I'm Al Michaels with Doc Rivers. Michelle Tafoya and Stuart Scott will work the sidelines. Can the Pistons pull off one of the great upsets in NBA Finals history? Right now they're on the verge of that. The Lakers are just trying to take the series back to LA for a 6th game on Thursday and if necessary a 7th game on Sunday. Oft times when there's an upset in the making, there's a lot of mystery, there's a lot of luck involved. Not so here. It's simple. The Pistons have just played better, including in the 2nd game when the Lakers needed a miracle to pull out a victory. In fact, the Lakers are the lucky ones. They're lucky they haven't been swept. Doc, Phil Jackson first, the Laker coach. We talked to him earlier. What can a guy who's never been in this situation with a veteran team, down 3 games to 1, what can he do? What will he do?
Well, I think the first thing he has to do is make his players believe. He has to tell them that the solution is in the locker room. It's not about changes. What we do, we have to do it better. More importantly, he has to let them know that if they win this game, the rest of the playoffs are at home. But more importantly, he has to get more than just Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant playing. He needs one more guy. I don't know who that guy will be, but he has to get one more guy to help the cause.
They're the only guys in double figures for the Lakers in each of the 4 games. Now there's Larry Brown. We both know him very well. He's a fretter. He doesn't want to think ahead. He's in the moment. Can he keep his team in the moment?
Yeah, he has to. He has to stay in it now. He has to get his team to understand if you lose this game, this is your last game at home for the rest of the season. Stay in it now, and you'll win the game.
Kind of funny. Brown staying in the moment. Phil Jackson is a guy who loves to stay in the moment, but he's got to be thinking about Thursday.
Yes.
And we go to Michelle.
With Karl Malone out, Phil Jackson said before the game, Al, that Slava Medvedenko, quote, has a game that he can bring to this matchup with Rasheed Wallace. He also said that Medvedenko is a far better player than what he's shown in this series so far. But Phil also said he has told every one of his players to be ready to play tonight as he plans to throw everything he has at Detroit. And speaking of Detroit, let's go over to Stuart Scott.
Michelle, 14 years after winning their last title, almost every Piston player to a man said their biggest challenge is focusing on one game without thinking about what happens when they win that game. Chauncey Billups told me, my only fear is that we want it so bad that we come out and start individually trying to do too much. Nothing selfish, he said, no agendas, just wanting it so bad, Al, and being that close.
Right now, Jack Nicholson is here to lend support to his beloved Lakers. Jack comes to town for the first time in the middle 3 games. Lakers trying to go home and take Detroit with them. In each of the 4 games in this series, we've had a jump ball violation to start the game. The only jump ball the Lakers have won was the one in overtime in game 2, the most important. So we get set to go. Tonight's telecast available in high definition and Spanish on ESPN Deportes. Joey Crawford, who will work the game with Bernie Fryer and Bennett Salvador to put the ball in the air. O'Neal at the ready. Ben Wallace jumping for Detroit. Wallace is 6'9", gives away about 3.5 inches, and that time, well, legal jump ball. And the Lakers get it. That means they will start the 4th quarter with a possession.
And if you're a Laker fan, every sign is important. Meaning that every possession is important. Is why Shaq didn't try to steal the ball.
And Slava Medvedenko, who got the ball from O'Neal, dropped it on the baseline after Shaq was doubled and then almost tripled as Malone takes a seat on the bench. Well, it's a 3-second violation.
Yeah, and the key will be with Slava Medvedenko is where they can space him out, because what the Pistons are doing when he's in the game, they're using his guy to double team Shaquille O'Neal, not only with the ball, but without the ball.
Heavy pressure by George. Medvedenko is making his first start since March 10th, over 3 months.
And one change you see early in this game is Kobe Bryant is starting the game out guarding Chauncey Billups, and that leads to an early foul. Now, what did you see there, Al, right away? The difference in this series, in my opinion, is that the Lakers have taken a ton of jump shots, and the Pistons keep attacking the basket. Right there, Chauncey Billups gets to the basket, and now he gets to the foul line.
So Kobe Bryant picks up his first personal 35 seconds into the game. The Lakers never led in game 3 here last Thursday. Had the lead from time to time. in the fourth game on Sunday. So Detroit up 2-0 at the outset, and Bryant with a foul. Gary Payton is guarded by Billups. George has Hamilton on him. Here's Medvedenko. He's free and hits from 19 feet.
And that is significant. Every shot he can make makes Rasheed Wallace pay more attention to him. That one shot does nothing, but if he can make a couple of them, it will.
Payton is there, got his hand on it, out of bounds. It'll be inbounded with 11 seconds on the timer by Detroit.
I like this move by the Lakers for a couple of reasons. One, I do think Gary Payton has the ability to stay with Rip Hamilton. Two, Kobe Bryant has a bigger body to guard Billups.
Prince is free from outside, in and out. Payton gets his first rebound. Pushes it up the floor. Medvedenko is free again and hits. So the Lakers, who had O'Neal and Bryant as the only guy in double figures in every game, have another guy now with 4 points in the first minute and a half.
Well, the one thing we know about Slava Medvedenko, he's going to give himself a chance. I mean, he is not an unwilling shooter.
Over Medvedenko, and Wallace drops one in.
That's where they miss Karl Malone. Karl Malone's ability to push Wallace off the block will be missed this evening.
Bryant
too deep.
To O'Neal. Jack misses his first shot of the night after scoring 36 with 20 rebounds and a tremendous performance the other night that was wasted. And Billups has it knocked away, stolen by the Lakers. Medvedenko again. Can he make it 3 in a row? Yes, he can. So Slava Medvedenko replacing Malone. You know he can give him the offense that Malone can't. And Doc, as you pointed out, the big question is against Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah, and the key for Rasheed Wallace is will he stay on the post? He has a habit of popping out off the block. That's where the Lakers would love to see him.
Medvedenko tried to front him. Now he gets behind him. And as Wallace works the ball outside, there's a foul here on the Lakers, on Devin George.
Yeah, and you notice that third one, Rasheed Wallace came at him. Now, this is the third team foul already for the Lakers, and this is what they don't want, is to get the silly fouls, Al. That's where they've been hurt so far.
The other night, the Lakers committed 36 fouls as O'Neal gets it over to Bryant. So the Lakers coming out tenaciously on defense. Here's Medvedenko again. This time he's going to dump it into O'Neal, and O'Neal's going to softly put it over the rim to make it 8-4 Lakers.
But Al, you already saw the difference with Medvedenko making shots. When he caught it that time, Rasheed Wallace ran out to him. That allowed him to drop the ball in the shack.
Prince guarded by George. Works off a Rasheed Wallace screen. Can't get it to drop, but Rasheed is there. Puts it up. Nothing happening. And O'Neal quickly gets it ahead to Bryant. Kobe's first effort is good, and the Lakers lead by a half dozen. 3.5 into the game, and the Lakers, at least at the outset, come out as a team that knows exactly what's at stake tonight.
And they're doing two things. Number one, they're playing defense, and by playing defense, that's allowing them to get in the open court.
And underneath, going down hard and drawing that response from the crowd is the angular and very thin Tayshaun Prince. Foul is on O'Neal.
That's the first flop flagrant I've seen. You know, usually they're just flops, and he was hit hard. But watch Tayshaun Prince. He's going to lay down there for a minute to see if he could draw the flagrant foul. And when he noticed that there was not another whistle, he kind of turned around and popped right back up.
Prince hasn't made a free throw in this series. He's now 0 for 4 in this series. Lakers fouling the Pistons at, for them, an alarming rate, and tonight already 3, including 1 each on Bryant and O'Neal.
And those are huge, not only because they're 3 fouls, but because of Bryant and O'Neal. The one thing Phil Jackson needs them to be is aggressive, and when you get those early fouls, you become passive.
Anybody who follows the NBA knows if you get 2 early fouls, the coach almost compelled to put you on the bench. Bryant fakes Prince out, and with Hamilton in his face, can't get that to go. And a whistle underneath, and Bernie Fryer is going to call a loose ball foul here. on O'Neal's. And so that's 2 already on Shaquille O'Neal, 4 minutes and 2 seconds into the game.
Exactly what the Lakers didn't want. 2 fouls on O'Neal. More importantly, 4 team fouls. Now, for the rest of this quarter, they are in the penalty.
And in this situation, Jackson, of course, minus Malone, has to leave him in. And then Wallace drives to the hoop and then gets the gong from the guys upstairs as he drops one in to make it 10-7.
Well, Ben Wallace knew that Shaq couldn't get in his way because of the 2 fouls.
Here's Medvedenko again. O'Neal trying to tip it up. Out of bounds it goes. Lakers will have it. See O'Neal giving a piece of his mind to Bennett Salvador on the last foul.
Yeah, what they're saying is you called over the back on Shaq. Shaq felt like the Detroit Pistons just went over the back on him.
What a play as O'Neal got it, gave it back to Devin George. He's able to get under the basket and face it and put it in, 12-7.
Well, the one change already by the Lakers offensively is that they're trying to get to the bucket tonight themselves.
They've been taking far too many jump shots and hitting very few three-pointers to this point. Cross court, Prince moves in for about a 12-footer that hits the side of the backboard. O'Neal gets the rebound. LA up by 5. Medvedenko to Shaq. Medvedenko again. And that time, his worst effort of the night. So he starts out hot. Then he hits the rim on one, and that one barely grazed it.
And the key for him is that he has to keep shooting.
Hamilton. And knocked away by Payton. So Gary Payton got a hand in. Payton, who's been eaten up in this series by Billups, makes a good defensive play for the steal.
I got to tell you, I like Payton's look tonight.
Bryant goes underneath, loses the ball. No foul is called, and it winds up in Medvedenko's hands for the basket.
This is the most engaged that I've seen Gary Payton in a long time. That doesn't mean he's going to play well, but he is engaged into this game.
Slava Medvedenko has already scored 8 points. Amazingly, Kobe and Shaq, as we mentioned before, the only Lakers in double figures in 4 consecutive games. How unusual is that? Well, this league's been around 58 years. That's 42,000 plus regular season games, about 3,000 playoff games. It's never happened. Never.
That's an unbelievable number.
Shaq comes out of the game here, and from the corner, it is Tayshaun Prince for a long 2. So O'Neal with 2 fouls out of the game. They have Bryant Cook in the game. Here's Kobe now. Kobe draws a crowd.
Boy, he sure does.
Yeah, what else is new? Medvedenko trying to get into double figures, and Medvedenko gets fouled as he works the baseline, and that will be the first foul, and that's Rasheed Wallace. Now, Wallace has been in foul trouble in this series. In the first 3 games, he barely played in any of the second quarters, and then the other night, he stayed out of foul trouble and had a great night.
Yeah, and that was why he had a great night, because he was allowed to play the whole game.
Cook missing.
See, that's the one thing Cook can do. Now, you're wondering why Phil Jackson takes Shaq out. Well, he has 2 fouls. That's number 1. I think the other reason is they have a 5-0 3-point lead, and he's going to look at the scoreboard and watch it. And as long as the Lakers have a lead or even get down just a little bit, he can afford to sit Shaq.
That was Rasheed Wallace, and that's Bryant. Ball comes out to Devin George. Bryant again, and Bryant gets pushed by Chauncey Billups. I mentioned the other night, the Lakers had 35 personal fouls in the last game. The Pistons 20. That was the largest difference between the number of fouls for 2 teams in any game in the 58-year history of the NBA Finals. There'll be a lot of them at the end, but still, it's been the story of the series.
Yeah, it really has been. And the reason it's such a big story, Al, is because the Lakers led the league in free throws.
Cook made a terrible pass, but it came back to Bryant. And then the call is against the Lakers.
You know, that's why you don't play rookies, honestly. And I hate to be so harsh. But first, the pass. I mean, you're in the World Championship game that you can be eliminated. You get on the floor and you throw a no-look pass to another big. I mean, that's number 1. And then to commit the foul after that. You know, Phil Jackson is thinking, That's probably why I don't play young guys in finals.
Phil's also thinking, how bizarre is this? I've got 4 Hall of Famers and a 5th Beatle to start the season. I'm in an elimination game, and I have to have Cook in the game early. I have to have Medvedenko in the game early. I've got Malone in street clothes and Shaq with 2 fouls.
Yeah, and that's a tough situation. But one of the things Phil Jackson talked about early in the year is how much he enjoyed working with Cook and Luke Walton. And he thought that they both would be excellent players. I don't know if he knew that he would need them this early.
6 straight points for Detroit. 7-point lead is now 1. Bryant guarded by Prince. Shoots over him. Doesn't drop. Big Ben high for the rebound. Now the Pistons can assume the lead here. Billups puts it on his hip, goes all the way, got the bounce. So Shaq goes to the bench, and the Pistons are on an 8-0 run.
And that's not a coincidence. They're struggling scoring on one end, and the Pistons are attacking the basket on the other end because they know there's no shot blocker.
Shaq has been on the bench in this series.
Our club has been one of the most difficult clubs to project how they're going to play of any team I've ever coached this particular year. So much of it depends upon Shaquille. He expanded himself so much the other night. We wasted one of the great games that we saw him play in this playoffs. It's going to depend upon him. Right now, I think we're feeling really pretty good about it. Kobe's guaranteed the fact that we're going to win. That in itself says something about it, and I like the mental attitude of the ball club.
He was talking about Shaq and wasting that performance, and they wasted their lead here. 8-0 run in a little over a minute and a half that Shaq was on the bench.
Yeah,
This play resumes, he's back in.
Yeah, and I thought that what Phil was doing was right. He was going to wait, look at the score. Now they're down. He put Shaq back in. I think this is a huge, key part of the game right now for Detroit. They have Shaq in foul trouble. They have the Pistons. They have the Lakers in penalty. They must keep attacking this basket.
And that was Devin George with the slam to make it 16-15. Meanwhile, Kobe Bryant for the Lakers has started out cold again. Kobe 1 for 5, hitting only 38% from the field in this series. Prince all the way, drops it in.
See, they know that Shaq can't help. And if he does help, they're going to throw their bodies right into him. So it'll be interesting how Shaq handles this.
And that'll make Prince very effective as well. He loves that move. Goes to the lane and puts it in. Shaq misses, gets his own rebound, and stuffs it back in.
Even a passive Shaq is aggressive. Even a passive Shaq is effective. You know what I mean?
And a passive Shaq who knows his season could be over. And Shaquille with 2 early fouls. Payton guarding Hamilton, who puts it in over Gary to make it 19-18. Lead seesaw.
That's the one area where I think Rip Hamilton is going to have to take advantage of Gary Payton, and that's his size.
Payton losing it. Stolen by Wallace. He's out in front all alone. 21-18 on the steal by Big Ben. Feeding O'Neal again. Medvedenko can't get it to drop. Rebound to Billups. Pistons running the floor. Score it. Hamilton. 23-18. Crowd roaring. 5-point lead coming down to 2 minutes to go in the period. Pistons 12-4 run here. Inside it comes. And the foul here. Foul is on Corliss Williamson.
And first the steal by Ben Wallace. I was really surprised no one tried to track him down and give him a foul. And then you saw Devin George at the bottom of your screen with an opportunity to get in the spot and take a charge, and instead he moved out of the way. Those are the little things that are really hurting this Laker team. And one of the things Larry Brown said is we want to run on the Lakers as much as possible.
That was a non-shooting foul. They started with 14 on the timer, and Kobe Bryant pulls one of his patented moves by driving through traffic to the hoop. 23-20. Luke Walton has come into the game. He provided the fuse that lit the Lakers in the second quarter in Game 2.
And right when Luke comes in, Corliss Williamson is in, and they're going to post him up.
O'Neal gets the rebound. Bryant, 4 points to this point. Payton will drive. Jump hook from the lane. Lakers cut it to 1. Gary's first 2 of the night.
A drive by Kobe Bryant. A drive by Devin George. A drive by Gary Payton. This Laker team right now is playing differently than they played all series.
Have to. Work it out to Hamilton. 6 on the timer. Williamson would have counted. He'll go to the line. You know, I was thinking, Doc, in this series, the 4 games, you have 4 quarters and an overtime period. There are only 2 sections that I can remember the Lakers dominating. One was the Walton part of game 2 late in the first half, injecting the energy. The other was the overtime period. Apart from that, it's been either the Pistons or neutral. But the Lakers have had control of the pace and tempo so few minutes in the series.
Yeah, actually, this is the only time, as crazy as it sounds, it's a 24-22 lead by the Pistons, but this is the first up-tempo basketball that you've seen in this entire series. So if you're Phil Jackson, you're looking at the score, you know you're down, but you got to think he likes this tempo much better. There's more driving to the bucket, and there's more running in the game and open court basketball. That's the way the Lakers actually want to play.
Williamson drops 2. It's the most points scored by either team in the first quarter in this series, the 25 for Detroit. Bryant, Prince on him. Kobe in the lane, drives, gets fouled. Bryant draws the foul. The foul is a 2-shot foul. The Pistons now have committed 14 fouls and the Lakers 6.
I mean, it's obvious, Al. I mean, it's obvious watching this Lakers team play tonight that Phil Jackson has told them, guys, I can't fight for you about fouls if you're going to keep launching jump shots. You have to get to the foul line. You have to drive the basketball. And eventually, if you drive, you will get to the foul line.
25-23, that's their first free throw of the night. Shelly Brown, Larry's wife, who is a lot more nervous than Larry, I can guarantee you.
I don't know.
Larry hides it pretty well.
Larry didn't look too calm in that office before the game today.
But Larry's always Larry.
True. That is Larry.
25-24 Detroit. Eldon Campbell. Walton comes over to help. Way back outside to Hunter. Now Campbell. And Walton comes in there to provide the defense after he got by Shaq. Shaq has to be very careful with the 2 fouls. Now the Lakers going to run it down.
You know what was interesting? Luke Walton, the rookie, was running down the floor yelling, 1 shot, 1 shot.
He's a smart rookie. He's in the jeans. With 3 on the timer, Bryant can't drop it. And that'll be the end of the first quarter. And there is still time. There's, well, 0.4 of a second. And you know what that means. Well, Derek Fisher certainly knows what it means.
And Kobe Bryant is really upset because he thought he had Tayshaun Prince up in the air and drew contact. And he really wants to know why that foul wasn't called.
They put 2:10 on the clock. Pistons will have to inbound from backcourt. O'Neal's going to come out. They're not going to take any chances here, even with 6/10. That would be a horrible 3rd foul.
Well, there's a lot of time. We know that with 6/10.
2/10 more than you need. Prince looking to fling it down the floor. Does down the baseline here. Hunter puts it up, and at least he got the rim. No foul call there. Bryant goes off the floor. Asking Bennett Salvatore if he's going to call any fouls when he's shooting tonight. 25-24, second quarter. Al Michaels, Doc Rivers, Michelle Tafoya, and let's check in with Stuart Scott.
Al, interesting in the last time out, Larry Brown did acknowledge to his team that Shaq has 2 fouls, but he also said spread the offense, meaning make sure you continue to run our offense. He even looked at his big man and he said, stop trying to get the fouls, try to score. Al?
Thank you, Stuart.
And that is really significant because what players and teams do, they focus so much on trying to draw the foul on Shaq that it actually takes them out of their rhythm and their offense.
That was Williamson dropping in the first points of the period. Kareem Rush is in the game. So is Derek Fisher. And Kobe has the ball stolen. Pistons rush back. Hamilton drives in. And Rush commits the foul. Pistons just forcing the issue in this entire series. Moving the ball around, getting through the middle, forcing the Lakers to commit fouls.
Yeah, they really are. They're getting so deep with the dribble penetration that either you foul them or you give them an easy two. And that's been their game plan throughout. Now, the only change so far in this game and in this series is today or tonight the Lakers are trying to do the same thing. Even that last shot, Kobe Bryant got it stolen from him, but he is trying to attack the basket. I think that's the right thing if you're the Lakers.
Hamilton misses the first of two. Billups is the leading scorer with 6. The Pistons, you talk about spreading it out and balanced scoring, they have 6 guys who have between 4 and 6 points. The Lakers, meanwhile, have Bryant now with 6. Medvedenko had a quick 8. He's on the bench right now. Walton in the corner, feeds it to O'Neal. 5 on the 24. Back to Shaq, and Shaq gets held as he's going to the basket by Rasheed Wallace.
You know, it's interesting. I don't think Larry Brown wanted that, you know, because it was Rasheed Wallace. You know, he needs Rasheed Wallace to stay in this game. Now Rasheed Wallace commits the foul because Shaq gets so deep, and it saves him a bucket, but it hurts him because Wallace has to come out of the game.
For the 4th time in 5 games, Rasheed Wallace has to take an early seat with his 2 fouls. Shaq tries to hand off to Kobe, and Lindsey Hunter got in between them to commit the foul. Here's Michelle.
Well, Al, since the last game, Phil Jackson spoke with Kobe Bryant about the things they wanted him to do tonight in this game, and I'll finish up after this play.
Fisher for 3.
Al, what Phil wanted from Kobe tonight was the things that he did in game 2, the game that they won. Play off the ball, get easy baskets, move without the basketball, be a distributor, and when he does have the ball, distribute the ball, and then the game will come to him. That's what they're looking from Kobe Bryant tonight, guys.
Michelle, that last foul was on Elgin Campbell. Now Bryant nearly has it taken away, and does in fact, by the hands of Hunter, leading to a Hamilton break and dunk.
See, Kobe Bryant just did exactly what Phil Jackson didn't want him to do. I mean, right there, he tried to split between 2 guys, which would be very difficult, and he turns the ball over. That's his 2nd turnover now for buckets for the Pistons because he's trying to force the action.
6-point lead inside to Shaq, puts it up and in.
But if you're the Lakers again, it's a 4-point game, and now the Pistons have 3 team fouls early into the 2nd quarter.
And the Pistons are hot after they were down by 7 in the first quarter. They scored on 12 of 14 possessions. Williamson is guarded by Kobe Bryant. And reaching in is Derek Fisher, and he's going to get called for it. Back to the steal by Hunter and the Hamilton breakaway.
I mean, again, you can see Kobe Bryant trying to force the action, and that's the 2nd time he's tried to split between guys, and that's what Kobe Bryant does extremely well, except for the Pistons now know that. They're playing them for that, and that's the 2nd turnover for bucket that he's caught.
Hunter out of the corner, and Ben Wallace in perfect position to grab the rebound. He's as good as it gets off the glass.
He is. And those hands are like glue. When they touch his hands, it sticks.
Williamson missing. Man, I just love to watch the way Wallace sets up, especially on those shots from the corner. He knows exactly where to be for the rebound. Perfectly positioned. Fisher from deep outside. Got it. 3-pointer to Derek. Saluted by Malone. It's a 1-point game.
And again, great ball movement. And on that shot, Fisher didn't hesitate.
Fisher, one of those Lakers playing hurt. Half the roster playing hurt, but playing nonetheless. Hamilton throws it away. And now Kobe's on a break. And Kobe's going to put this one in, looking to see where Hunter was, seeing if he could get a three-point play out of it. And it's 31-30 Los Angeles.
I think he didn't think Hunter could catch up to him. And he did. So this is a big foul here. Brave man Jack Nicholson is, you know. I remember he went into Boston one time and braved the elements also. My first Boston reference of the night.
In a while, I like
that.
Doc, of course, will be the coach of the Celtics next year. Game of runs right there. Lakers started hot. Then Shaq sat down for a minute and a half, and the Pistons were off and going. And now after Fisher committed the foul on the inbounds play, which means Ben Wallace is at the line for two. He makes the first. Fisher working on Jackson's behalf with Bennett Salvatore.
And if you're wondering why they're shooting free throws out, it's because the ball had not been inbounded, so it's an automatic 2 free throws. And there's Kobe Bryant again attacking the basket. Now, that's a good thing. You want him to do that. What you don't want him to do is try to split and force the action.
And turn the ball over and commit an offensive foul. That foul on Hunter. Game tied at 31, 8:45 to go, first half. Fisher gets it back into O'Neal. Can't get it. Hunter comes away with it. Campbell. Pistons love to force the ball up the floor. One of the reasons is it makes Shaq work that much harder.
Yeah, it's like chopping a tree down. They say it may not give them make a big deal for the first 3 quarters, but by the 4th quarter, they don't think Shaq can keep running.
Hamilton gets free. Back door.
And that's a rare sight that you will see Rip Hamilton driving towards Shaq and Shaq getting out of the way. But that's because of the 2 fouls.
Bad pass, and it results in nearly a Piston basket, but at least they go to the free throw line.
Well, I tell you, talking to Phil this morning, two of the things he said we couldn't do is, one, we couldn't make silly fouls. They're making them. 2, he said, we cannot turn the ball over and allow them to get easy buckets. And they are doing it at a high rate right now.
They turned it over 7 times in the first 16 minutes of the game. Log on to the NBA store, NBA.com. A lot of good stuff right there. NBA.com.
You know, what Phil Jackson is saying is that he believes that his team has actually played good defense, minus the turnovers, which are easy buckets, and the fouls.
Payton comes back in. Kareem Rush departs. Gets the bounce, and Detroit's lead is 4.
And if you're Larry Brown, you like the way your team is playing. You know, they're just out there playing like they play and not thinking about anything else.
Walton drives all the way, can't get it to drop, and then going to the floor was Eldon Campbell. A 3-on-2 here. Fed underneath, Williamson misses it, but gets it back, juggles it, keeps possession. And Hamilton will now start to drive. Williamson, shot clock in single figures. Hamilton, fall away. Couldn't get control of the ball, but got hit and fouled. Payton. Jackson's up, arms folded. In effect, thinking to himself, you know what, that's a foul, but they did it to Kobe before and it's not a foul?
That's what I think the Lakers are saying right now. Now, I will say that Derek Fisher and Payton are the 2 trickiest defenders in this league. And I think what Bennett Salvatore is saying, he saw them do something tricky, and I think what he saw them do is tap him on the elbow.
Fisher with 3 fouls now. And Rick Fox comes into the game. So Fox makes his first appearance. And Detroit up by 6 again. So after they had a 6-point lead and the Lakers overcame it, Detroit up 37-31. Walton, too high for Bryant. Try to time it. Kobe got underneath. Another turnover. And then Detroit throws it away, but it was last touched by the Lakers.
Yeah, that was a fastball lob. Usually you're supposed to lob it nice and soft. There was no one quick enough to jump and catch that pass that Luke Walton just threw.
Larry Brown didn't like that possession. Palace of Auburn Hills. About 10 o'clock local time. The Lakers, as play resumes, on the short end of a 7-0 run in the last 147. The second such run in a short period of time for Detroit. And they'll inbound with 19 seconds on the clock. Underneath, Billups reverse, puts it in. So Chauncey Billups got it in, got it back, and Chauncey Billups now has 8 points. Biggest margin in the game. O'Neal's going to drive. Too hard. Stolen by Bryant. And Bryant, as he's moving down the court, gets fouled by Tayshaun Prince.
I think what they're going to do, Al, is say that Kobe Bryant was ahead of everybody, and they're going to give him a shot and the ball out of bounds.
They were near, close enough to a breakaway.
And there again, on that last replay, you saw another uncontested layup by the Detroit Pistons.
That is the height of frustration. You get, in effect, a free throw, and you can't make it.
And here it is. What they're saying is he had a clear path to the basket. No one was in front of him. He led the pack, so you can't foul. It's a good call.
And then one of the best free throw shooters in the NBA can't drop it. The Lakers inbound it. 6.5 to go first half. Bryant working off an O'Neal screen. Goes all the way, puts it up, and it doesn't go, but it'll go to the line.
See, that's what they want Kobe Bryant to do. And that was terrific execution. They swung the ball to the left, acting like the ball was going to go there. And then Shaq came up from the bottom and gave a terrific pick, which allows Kobe to split and get into the paint. And you can see there the foul on the arm.
Lakers are now 3 out of 4 from the line. Kobe Bryant is the only Laker who has been to the free throw line tonight.
What's interesting is Kobe Bryant is the one Laker that has probably been the most surprising that hasn't gone to the line in this series. But to me, the difference is tonight, Kobe Bryant is not settling. He's attacking the basket.
Attacking, and of course the Lakers will tell you on the other side, they're just not getting the calls. But the one thing Jackson didn't do before this game is start to bait the referees through the media. Phil's been pretty quiet about that over the last 48 hours. Or 40 anyway. Yeah, he had to say after game 4. Hamilton misses. Medvedenko back in the game and takes it off the glass.
I think Phil Jackson likes this switch with Kobe Bryant guarding Billups.
Bryant, too hard. Prince, behind the back, great move to get by Bryant. Does it again and can't get it to drop. It'll go to the line. 2 behind the back dribbles.
And again, getting all the way to the bucket. Every long rebound, every turnover, the Detroit Pistons have pushed the ball up, and if you don't stop the ball, they're going to continue to go until they get all the way to the bucket.
Prince, who grew up idolizing Kobe Bryant. I say he idolizes Bryant as Okur and James come into the game. There's only a couple of years differential, but Kobe's been playing in the NBA so long, and Tayshaun Prince wound up going to college for 4 years. I guess you become an idol.
Yeah, you do. And Kobe became an idol pretty quickly in this league.
There are guys in their 30s who idolize Kobe. 7-point Detroit lead. 5:40 left in the half. Okur guarding O'Neal, who gets it back from Medvedenko. Puts it up, gets fouled.
See, again, Shaq's being patient. They're moving the ball. They're attacking the basket. I think one point has to be made about this free throw discrepancy, Al. You know, the Lakers led the league in free throw shooting most of the league all year because they led most of the games and teams went to hack-a-shack. They've never had a lead in this series, so the Detroit Pistons really haven't had to go to hack-a-shack, and I think that's one of the big differences in this series.
That's anathema to a purist like Larry Brown as well. He doesn't want to do it. Free throw attempt differential, as you can see, the difference in the finals as opposed to the regular season. In the first 3 rounds, Medvedenko got the rebound after 2 O'Neal misses. Now Bryant puts one up. Kobe stays cold. Bryant is 3 of 10 from the floor. And Payton tries to steal. Can't keep it inbounds.
You know, Bryant is 3 of 10, but most of his shots tonight, in my opinion, have been pretty good. The couple of forced opportunities have led to turnovers. I think as a coach, you have to live with those because he is so creative.
Pistons, meanwhile, are hitting 57% from the field. And since they've been going to the free throw line more often, that's a tough combo to beat. And Ben Wallace is too tough to beat right there, and the lead is 9.
And that's huge. When you're Detroit, and you can drop the ball into Ben Wallace and get points out of him, that is huge.
Whistle on the way to the basket.
I mean, one of the things Larry Brown has done since coming to Detroit, he's made Ben Wallace an offensive option. He tells his team to look for him when he's on a post, and he's made Ben Wallace think offense. Ben Wallace a couple of years ago would have never made that move. Now when he gets the ball, he feels pretty comfortable. And you look tonight, he's 3 for 3 with 7 points.
O'Neal makes his first free throw here. He's now 1 out of 3. Lakers had an early 7-point lead. There's Wallace tipping it to himself. Great body control, kept it inbounds. His huge hands. Able to pot. And then Detroit tries to cash it. Wallace. Wow. (44-34). The lead is double digits. Jackson not calling a timeout. Phil believes in conflict resolution. They got a lot to resolve right now. And Kobe got blocked and fouled.
And boy, I tell you, that was close. That was real close. Because Mike James almost got there and slid up under Kobe. Watch his foot and see if he was still moving at the very end. He was. That was an excellent call. But boy, that was close. I think if Mike James didn't try to draw the contact himself, he would have had a charge.
Bryant now 5 out of 6 from the free throw line. Drops them both. Pistons up by 8. Fox picks up Prince in backcourt. James way outside. He provided a big spark for them in just a very short period of time late in the first half the other night. Okur. Mehmet Okur.
And Medvedenko right now, even though he's giving them some offense, is a defensive liability for this Laker basketball team. He's getting scored on from all angles.
And the call here on the Lakers. That's on Shaquille, so that's his third. He picked up 2 early ones, third one here away from the ball.
And so now we have a crisis time right now for the Los Angeles Lakers. They have 3:36. They're down 10 points, and they probably will not see Shaq the rest of this half. This is key.
Jackson left O'Neal in the last game of the Minnesota series, the conference finals, and he picked up a 4th foul in the first quarter. From the corner, in and out from Prince. Medvedenko gets the rebound. So O'Neal on the bench. Malone in street clothes. Fox posting Prince. Turnaround off the glass, and Rick banks it home to make it an 8-point game.
And Rick Fox has been begging to play. You know, one of the points he made, it was pretty interesting. He said, hey, everybody else is playing injured. I would like to play injured also. And, you know, when a player like him asks to come in, it's pretty smart that you see Phil Jackson put him in.
Look at Ben Wallace going right by Medvedenko. Putting one in from about 10 feet. And what Ben likes to do before the game, as we know, Doc, is take the big ball, take a bigger ball, and try to make baskets with it. It's kind of like being out on the putting green. You know, you have those tiny little holes.
I knew where you were going.
Of course. Like, we share the same
no
love.
doubt. Same passion. You know, it's funny, too, because that ball was really invented for ball handling. Ben Wallace has turned it into a shooting gimmick, which some guys do use it for that, and it's really paid off for him.
It's working tonight, and there he is again. Big ball, small ball, and that was after they had about half of the 24-second clock to work with on the inbound. 10-point lead. Phil Jackson was telling us earlier today one of the things the Lakers had to do was hold their turnovers to 8 or less. The Lakers have already turned the ball over 9 times in the first half.
And the reason he's saying that is because he says that they've played pretty good defense in half court. What they can't do is give Detroit easy buckets, and that's exactly what they've done.
Cook gets doubled in the corner. Nowhere to go with it. 4 on the shot clock. Out to Rush. He's got to shoot. He does at the horn and makes it. Kareem Rush, who was so big in the clinching game against Minnesota, with 6 3-pointers.
Boy, that was a huge bucket, and it was amazing how unrushed Rush was. Did that make sense?
Perfect. Doc, that's why you can't coach. You got to come back here next year. From the corner, a 3-pointer for Okur. Big answer's big. Bryant. Back to Cook. Minute and a half to go in the period.
Well, there is no spacing right now for the Lakers.
And Kobe is the line drive one over Okur and Prince.
I mean, their spacing was so bad. You know, the difference in the first half right now is it looks like the Detroit Pistons offense is executing to a T. And right now the Lakers are scoring almost out of their offense.
Shot is short. Rebound keeps getting tipped. Winds up in the hands of Prince. He'll drive all the way. Brings the house down. The Pistons in this series just eating the Lakers up on the offensive glass.
And that's length and athleticism coming together at the same time on that last possession. The ball stayed up in the air, and they got both.
20-second Laker timeout.
Ten-point lead for the Pistons. Al, this is what we're talking about. You know, a good drive, but watch, the ball stays up in the air. And if you're longer, quicker, and more athletic, usually you come up with the rebounds, and that's where the Pistons have taken advantage of the Lakers in this series.
Night after night, first time in this series, either team's had a 50-point first half. Bryant puts one up.
Well, I think the Pistons love when he settles. They love when he settles for that fadeaway jump shot, even though it is one of his staple shots. With Tayshaun Prince's length, they will take that shot all game.
Pistons eating up the Laker defense. Okur drives, softly puts it in. And they lead by 12 with Shaq on the bench, Malone and Civvies. And a game away from elimination. Okur has 7. Medvedenko will drive to the basket and get fouled on his way to the hoop.
You know, in a perfect world, if you're Phil Jackson, you would have loved Medvedenko to back it out and take the final shot and just have a 4-second differential. But you can't pass up layups right now when you're down 12.
Third foul on Okur.
Well, I've heard of the Tiger Slam. I guess this would be the Davis Slam if he gets this.
Medvedenko trying to become the first Laker apart from O'Neal and Bryant to go into double figures, and that's a small consolation to Phil Jackson right now because his team is going to go into the locker room trailing in a season in which they were built to win this title.
And this year only.
Because it'll be a different team next year. And the Pistons right now trying to make it a dozen points if they can. And James puts it up and doesn't have it. And they're only a fraction of a second left on the clock. It's the largest halftime lead for either team in the series. So Detroit fell behind by 7 early. They put Shaq on the bench. They caught him. The lead seesawed a little bit. And now Detroit with a great run in the second quarter. They outscore the Lakers 30-21. And Detroit leads 55-45 at the half. We go to Stuart Scott.
Ben Wallace, 11 points. You guys are shooting over 60%. You're the Pistons. You don't shoot 60%. What's going on?
I mean, that's what confidence do for you. You know, we got some stops. We was able to get some clean looks. And tonight, the shots just falling for us.
Why are fast break points? You guys got a bunch of them. Why are they so important for this game?
Because, you know, they got the big fella down inside. And if you slow the game down, allow him to get position, you know, he's going to bang you all night. So we want to get out and make him run a little bit, try to wear him down.
24 minutes away from what could be a championship. What's your biggest concern at halftime?
Just that we don't come out a little bit, you know, over-aggressive. You know, we got to stay poised, continue to execute our offensive set, continue to get stops, and allow the game to come to us.
All right, Ben, appreciate it. Good luck in the second half.
Second half ready to begin. Detroit up by 10 points at the Palace. Al Michaels with Doc Rivers, Michelle Tafoya, Stuart Scott. A lot of different things we can talk about. But again, one of the things, Doc, is the fact that the Pistons are having their way against that Laker defense. Lakers started out pretty good, defending almost every shot, and then all of a sudden they became a sieve again.
And that's been a staple of this series. All series long, the Lakers have come out and played defense for, you know, a quarter or maybe a couple of possessions, but they haven't been able to maintain it throughout the games. And this is what you see when the Lakers don't play defense. You see layup after layup after layup. And this is not just this game. It's been the entire series. They're running on all cylinders, 61% from the field, 10 layups, 3 of those are dunks, 11 points from Ben Wallace, who's not an offensive player, and they've had a ton of wide open shots that don't even count as layups.
It's 26 points from not only in the paint, but you're in the easel, I guess, at that point. I mean, you're right there. Layups, dunks, you know, and the Lakers are right now in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I will say this, though. Shaq left, they're down 10. He comes back, they're still down 10. I think that's significant.
Back he comes at the start of the second half. We go to Stewart.
Al, I asked Larry Brown what he told his team about making this just one simple half of basketball. And he said, I really told them, just keep doing what you're doing. Do your job and you'll be fine. But then he smiled and he said, but I did tell them, enjoy this. And I told them several times. For a report of the Lakers, let's go to Michelle Tafoya.
Stuart, as I was standing outside the Laker locker room during halftime, something very unusual happened. A Laker official came out of the locker room and shushed people in the hallway. Things were obviously getting tense inside that locker room. Kurt Rambis told me players were attentive. We're overplaying guys on D. We're allowing them to penetrate. Back to you guys.
And this begins, the second half does, with a Rasheed Wallace three-pointer.
Boy, and that's a big one. I know it's early in the second half. Rasheed Wallace really didn't get involved in the first half, and Larry Brown came out of the halftime making sure that Rasheed Wallace touched the ball.
Here's O'Neal. And the Lakers will need a lot of that.
I was going to say, Phil Jackson came out, and he said, make sure Shaq touches the ball.
Shaq got a little bit of rest because of the foul trouble in the first half. And again, Ben Wallace takes the rebound away.
And he's just quicker to the ball. That's what you keep seeing in this series. The Pistons are just quicker to the basketball.
Prince. Wallace has to come out. Wallace is going to drive all the way. Payton back for the Lakers. Medvedenko. Here's Bryant in the corner. Medvedenko is open from inside the arc and misses.
You notice how Medvedenko came out and he made those 3 shots. And since then, he has really struggled. He's starting to hesitate. You know, that's the difference between a great player and just an average player. The average player will make a couple, but when he misses, he loses his confidence. A great guy, great player will keep shooting.
Prince short, but again, they keep it alive, and Ben Wallace gets the assist on the Hamilton layup.
That was a great example of what I've been talking about that last play. A loose ball. Shaq reacts, so does Ben Wallace, but Ben Wallace is quicker to the ball.
Now Bryant, and Bryant gets fouled. That one is on Tayshaun Prince. That'll be his first.
I mean, I want you to look at this. You see Shaq and Ben both go to it. Ben gets it quicker, and that causes a layup. Second shots and free throws have killed the Lakers in this series.
Devin George has that swatted out of his hands and out of bounds. 11 on the clock as the Lakers inbound. Medvedenko started 3 for 3. He's now 4 of 8. Payton having trouble getting it in, just does. Bryant, 7 on the 24. Kobe goes all the way, left hand stuck.
So Kobe Bryant has come this evening and done what he should do, and that's attack the basket. Shaquille O'Neal getting in foul trouble hurt the Lakers. The key for the Lakers in this half is Shaq staying on the floor.
And playing some defense. Wallace working on Medvedenko. Puts it up. And there again, I have never seen anybody with the instincts of Ben Wallace. He knows exactly where to be.
And he's quicker than everyone else on the floor.
I mean, how far do you have to go back in the NBA annals, Doc, to think of a guy who knew exactly where to be like that?
Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman.
You have to go back that far, I guess. Well, I was hoping you'd go back to, you know, like Arnie Rison or somebody. Here's Devin George. Tapped out. George sending it around the rim, a 360. The Lakers with a fresh 24 as O'Neal with Wallace on him. Turns on him. Puts it up. Doesn't get the bounce, but gets fouled. And that one on Rasheed Wallace is his third.
And you can see this here. What they're saying is Rasheed Wallace hit with his arms and his body. I think Rasheed Wallace is thinking right now, I think I was hit with Shaq's body and arms.
Shaq 1 out of 4. He has 9 points in the game. Now 1 out of 5 from the free throw line. Lakers have taken 14 free throws tonight, made 9. Pistons 18 and made 14. This is 2 here, and Larry Brown saying before the game to us, he said, you know, we got to beat him at the foul line. But tonight they're beating him from the foul line and from the open court. Oh, beautiful pass to Hamilton, and then Devin George comes in for the foul.
What a great cut by Rip Hamilton. He created the entire play with his movement. I mean, just take a look. Watch him start it out. He goes over. He changes speed. He stops. Payton goes over top. He back cuts, and he gets to the bucket. I tell you, he's the guy that you would not enjoy guarding. He's like a hyperactive kid.
Yeah, I'm thinking the medicine cabinet, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's like a parent chasing a precocious.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
You can take him to the doctor, but in the NBA you can't.
Right. 12-point lead. Now 13, 8:25 remaining in the third. When the Pistons have a double-digit lead, they're as tough as anybody to beat because of their great defense. And then Bryant loses it on his way to the basket and looks back at Joey Crawford, the referee. Three-pointer coming up for Hamilton, rimmed it out. Payton has 2 points tonight. George passes up the 3, sends it into Shaq, and he has the easy layup. O'Neal now goes into double figures with 11 points.
You know, it's an 11-point game. And now I get the sense that the Lakers are still in this game.
Doc, my sense is 3 months ago they'd really be in the game, but I'm not sure right now. And a 24-second violation. I say that only because of the dominance of the Pistons in the series. The Lakers keep living on the edge. They've taken themselves right to the precipice right now. Phil Jackson has to mix and match and play a makeshift lineup. And Larry Brown is making all the right calls.
Well, you really have. But when you look at this game right here, I'm looking at the way the Lakers are playing. They look like they're aggressive. They're taking it to the bucket. They're drawing fouls in the half. They might have a chance of getting penalty first in this quarter, which would be different. I tell you, this game is becoming really dangerous for the Pistons.
They called that on Rasheed Wallace. You saw Ben Wallace put his arm up as if to say, call it on me. And they've called it on Rasheed, so well, that's 4 on him.
And that's because it was on Rasheed. And what Ben Wallace was trying to do was sell to his team or to the refs that the foul was on me.
No
so this
sale.
is the first time now that Rasheed Wallace has gotten in trouble in the second half.
Right. So he picks up his 4th with 19 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the game. And O'Neal picks a pretty good time for the Lakers to make both. Single digits now, 9-point game. Double teamed in backcourt. And Devin George runs away and goes, come on, we had him. They call it on George, and Billups goes down as George picks up his 3rd foul.
You know, it's funny. Billups looks down and said he slipped on the play, yet the foul was called already.
Phil Jackson has never lost 3 playoff games in a row. They'll have to pull one out here to keep the series alive. Hamilton. Ben Wallace went high in the air. Prince couldn't put it in, and O'Neal fights for the rebound and has it. And the foul is called on Tayshaun Prince.
And now the Lakers are starting to amount the fouls. They're going to have a chance to be in penalty.
That's 4, so 1 more, and the Lakers will go to the line for the rest of the quarter. 6.5 to play. Payton, little fall away, doesn't go. Ben Wallace with the rebound.
That used to be Payton's staple move. And you can see most of those shots now are front of the rim, which indicates tired legs. And guard Rip Hamilton will do that.
Hamilton can't get there, but Campbell does.
Rip Hamilton calls that play with the dribble penetration.
O'Neal. Ben Wallace cleans the glass again. 10 rebounds for Wallace.
And that was not a good possession for the Lakers.
Prince. Wallace is going to drive and gets fouled.
Now, I'm looking at the Laker lineup. Phil Jackson told us one of the things that he might do is go small. And I think he used the word ultra small, and he's done it. Brian Russell right now is in the game at the power forward position.
Michelle, what went on in the huddle?
Well, a couple things. Phil Jackson came right to the guys and said, you cannot give them rebounds. And during the rest of the timeout, he said, we've got to get stops. And he reminded them, we have to play right through the foul calls. Don't throw your arms. Don't shoot looks. Don't talk to the refs. Your only recourse is to play through the fouls. Play defense with your feet, not with fouls, guys.
That's it. You go to all of the fuel left in the tank. Brian Russell in the game. And again, this is where the Lakers have come in a situation where Malone can't play. in a desperation game, you go to a guy, Brian Russell, who has played so little over the last 2 months. Bryant drives, jams one home, 10-point game.
Yeah, this is the first sign that this Laker team is looking for something.
Billups. Open in the corner. Prince misses. Phil Jackson's like a manager in an elimination game in the World Series, as Devin George can't hit what would have been a big one, and Wallace gets the rebound. If you're faced with elimination in the World Series, you'll use every pitcher, every player, and Jackson's done that tonight. They have 12 guys. One is in civvies. That's Malone. They've used the other 11. Prince drives, softly throws it in.
I'm watching that possession. The Lakers players didn't know who they had. They got mixed up because no one knew who was guarding who, and that's why Tayshaun Prince got all the way to the basket.
And that's what's going to happen when you play a quintet that has played so little together. O'Neal starts to go to the hoop. Bernie Fryer calls a foul. Even if it's not a shooting foul, they're still in the penalty here.
Look at this. Look at guys running around. They don't know what they had. Two guys runs here. Shaq has to try to help. I mean, in a game like this, when you come off the bench, you must communicate with each other. I have Rasheed, you have him, and you have to play. That didn't happen, and that just gave up 2 points.
And the Pistons, such heavy underdogs before the series, are the team right now playing probably as cohesively as they have all season.
You know, you're right. One of the things I've noticed in this series is whenever you hear a Piston player talk, he knows exactly what he is supposed to do. When you hear a Laker player talk, he sounds like he's guessing and talking about what they should do.
O'Neal missing both free throw attempts. He's 3 out of 10. The Lakers are 11 of 19. Van Wallace over Brian Russell.
That's what happens when you go small. Now you have a small guy on Ben Wallace.
Kobe loses the ball. There's no foul in the lane. Here's Billups on a drive. Got it. Goes to the line.
The Detroit Pistons are smelling the golden ball, and they're going for it right now.
Shelly Brown. A 17-point lead. O'Neal. Bryant. Give and take with Shaq. Goaltending.
Ben Wallace did that on purpose, Al. He knew it was going in. He wants to show the intimidation factor of the Detroit Pistons. This reminds me of Patrick Ewing against Villanova. Just knock it out to scare him. He didn't care.
He got the gong anyway from upstairs. The Gong Show. Billups throws the ball away. Billups is going to contend that it was touched by a Laker.
I thought it was deflected, to be honest. You know,
from our angle,
it really looked like it was deflected.
Ball took an erratic hop. Lakers now. Bryant outside. Payton has the ball. Looks Kobe's way. Goes inside to Shaq. Slam dunk. 72-59. Under 3 to go in the third. Larry Brown a little nervous again.
Well, I think they're going to be nervous until there's all zeros on the clock. But right now,
Larry will be.
Yeah, they're playing good basketball.
Prince. O'Neal tonight 17, Bryant 18. But the story has been Detroit's defense again. And Ben Wallace with 13 rebounds and 14 points, so he's done it on both ends. The technical foul will come after the personal foul on George, who looks over at Bernie Fryer and gets teed up.
Yeah, and he earned the technical. There's no doubt about it. And right now at this point in the game, when your team is down 13 points, now 14 points, you can't afford to give up any free buckets. I don't think Phil Jackson was real happy about that technical foul, and that's why you see Devin George with that towel and sitting down. But
there's nothing that Phil can do about it at this point. He's done all of the politicking and all of the carrying on, the manipulating that he could. Too late now. Here's Stewart.
Al, Larry Brown is a consummate coach, even with this team dominating the game, a double-digit lead. The last time out, he told these guys, hey, this game is not over. We got to finish this quarter the right way. No wasted possessions, Al.
Here's O'Neal. Can't get it. Larry Brown grew up in a Jewish family. He was born in Brooklyn. He grew up in New York. His mom is 99. And I think his mom taught him, Larry, don't give yourself a Kenahara, which means don't say something prematurely. And so Larry has always lived that way. And Larry right now is not giving himself a Kenahara.
No, he's not. And more importantly, he's making sure that his team knows that Rip Hamilton was hit in the face on that last possession. It was an accident, but he was definitely hit in the face, right in the nose, it looked like, by Gary Payton. Watch the arm, bam. That's why you wear that mask. It's safer over here, Al.
Doc, it's safer over here than on the bench. That's what I keep telling you. 7 seconds on the timer. Billups. Here's Campbell free. Got it with O'Neal coming all the way out on him. Campbell went down. He thought he was fouled.
Everything is falling right now.
And a double technical now. Hamilton and Payton carrying on with each other.
Well, that's the next step. You know, when you're getting dominated, the next step is to try to do other things, verbally get into it, see if you can throw them off this way, because no other way has worked thus far. And I love what Larry Brown is doing. He's going to take Rip Hamilton off the floor because he wants him to get it together, and he's thinking, listen, Rip, this game is not over.
Lindsey Hunter comes into the game. Kobe Bryant will bring the ball up the floor. Bryant, 18 points tonight, 6 out of 15 from the field. O'Neal into the corner. Three-pointer here. Russell misses. Lakers keep it alive. Payton. Fox now. Shaq works it back out. Payton tries for a three. Nothing drops. Prince gets the rebound.
See, that's a sign of desperation. You had guys who could have chosen to put the ball on the floor. Now they're trying to catch up with the three-pointer. That is not going to get the Lakers back in this game. The Detroit Pistons are playing the right way. They just continue to execute their offense, move the ball, be patient, and get their shots. And they're killing the Lakers defensively right now with their offense.
Fox picks up his first foul. The Pistons this season holding 11 opponents in the regular season under 70 points. Fisher comes back in. In Larry Brown's 20-year career coming into the season, his teams have held opponents under 70 a total of 10 times. He did it more in 1 year than in 20 years.
It's been one of the more dominating defensive performances of all time. And in the playoffs, maybe of all time.
And their backs were to the wall in the Jersey series. And they came back to win 6 and 7. Bryant from
another
outside.
Three. That's the third straight three.
Now Bryant will drive, hang in the lane, nothing goes, and Ben Wallace with the rebound.
The Lakers have the look of this. We tried, we couldn't do it, we're not good enough, and now you can see them slowly deteriorating in front of your eyes.
Kobe Bryant with the foul.
But I got to make the point again. This is not the Lakers playing poorly. This is the Detroit Pistons playing great. It's a big difference.
As we said at the top of the show, when you have an upset of this magnitude, people say, well, how did they do it? And normally, you know, it's whether it's baseball or hockey or basketball or football, there's always, you know, something that happens. You get a break, the ball bounces the right way, the goalie makes a stop. But with the Pistons, it's just that, as we said at the beginning, they're playing better. They're the better team. Bryant missing. Campbell. Billups.
Look at the ball movement. Look at the patience. Everybody's touching the ball, even on a fast break.
And the Pistons right now look like a fresh horse. Well rested, running, flying down the floor, and the Lakers look like they're totally innovated. Wallace has 10 rebounds in this quarter. He has 15 in the game.
You know, every single game there's been a different guy. Chauncey Billups was dominant in one game. Rip Hamilton was dominant in one game. Rasheed Wallace was dominant in one game. And now tonight is Ben Wallace. You know, when you start thinking about MVP, I don't know if you can give it to one person. I think this should be a team MVP. I don't know if that's possible, but you have to think about it.
They've got to give it to an individual according to the rules that I'm aware of.
Change the rules.
Yeah. Give it to a coach, too.
Yeah, they could. They really could.
Fourth foul on Okur. O'Neal at the line is 3 out of 10. Stewart, yours.
Al, Hamilton just came back in the game. You saw him, he caught that blow to the face, but that face guard he's wearing, it's worth $2,500. The reason he's wearing it, he's broken his nose twice this year already. The doctor said if he has another one, he'd have to miss the rest of the season. What happens when he gets hit, all of the brunt of the blow goes against the forehead and the chin, so he is okay.
Wow. Coast to coast with no one stopping the ball. Before this series, we said if the Lakers didn't play defense, they would not win this series. The Lakers have not played defense.
And it's so loud, and they're so inexperienced as a unit out on the floor, they couldn't even get a shot away at the end of 3. Al Michaels, Doc Rivers, Michelle Tafoya, Stuart Scott. Fourth quarter begins. William Davidson, whose WNBA team, the Shock, won last season's title, who owns the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they have the Stanley Cup. That man's had a pretty good year.
Boy, I tell you.
Lindsey Hunter starts the fourth quarter with a steal.
Not one Laker cross half court.
Shaq on the bench as we start the period.
If you watch right now, Al, if you watch the body language, the movement, who do you think is winning and losing right now? The way the Pistons are playing, if you turn the game on right now, you would think, boy, they must be down. They're playing desperate.
But they've been playing at the same pace. They have controlled the pace. And it's the Lakers who look always a step behind. Kobe goes to the hoop and gets fouled in the lane. Wallace. For Larry Brown, trying to become the first guy to do that. He won the NCAA crown at Kansas in 1988. Danny Manning was his key guy. He also coached UCLA to the national championship game in 1980.
He was here with the Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA championship. Larry Brown, everywhere he's gone, his team has improved. The San Antonio Spurs.
He normally takes reclamation projects. I mean, this is a guy who got the Los Angeles Clippers into the playoffs.
Hey, I was a part of that too.
Despite Doc Rivers being on the roster.
He did it in sweat.
Ben Wallace. He'll tip it back in himself over Brian Cook.
This has been a dominating performance this entire series. And you're right, Al. You can make the point that the Lakers are very lucky to be playing tonight.
You get the feeling, the way this is going, that these teams could play 10 more games and the Lakers might not win one. I mean, it's been that dominant.
Look at this.
Walton to Rush. Hamilton on Fisher. It's almost like the party has started with 10:32 still left in the game.
Yeah, the party has started. There is no doubt about it. Every long rebound, a Piston releases and gets a fast break. And it's been one-on-one fast break basketball for the Pistons. And I said fast break basketball for the Pistons. The party has started.
Doc, you may be the last coach ever hired under 60 years old. You know, when you think about what's happened since 2000, Dick Vermeil at 63 became the oldest coach to win a Super Bowl. Scotty Bowman, 68, the oldest coach to win a Stanley Cup. He only won 9. Jack McKeon, 72, won the World Series last year. And Larry Brown, who looks about 50 but is 63 years old, is on the verge of becoming the oldest to win an NBA title.
Well, all I have to say is I hope I don't have to wait 23 years to win a title.
Doc will keep this season warm for you, baby. Kobe goes to, and Kobe's hurt. Bryant this season, of course, in addition to Colorado, was also hurt on a couple of occasions, missed about 15 games. At one point, it looked like he wrenched his shoulder to the point he'd be out for a couple of months. Instead, he was only out for a week or so.
Yeah, I think he missed one game.
Yeah.
It's still not healed. You know, when you talk to the team doctors, he may have to have surgery. They don't know after the season is over. The team is definitely going to have surgery.
The team is going to have major surgery. Talking to Mitch Kupchak, the general manager today, as Wallace comes back in. Hunter goes out. There will be no offseason for the Laker brass. And what about Phil? And what about Shaq? Now, Shaq's under contract, so unless they trade him,
which will not happen ever.
If they won't go trade him, they won't trade him?
I don't see that ever happening. I think the number one thing is what Phil Jackson does. Number two is what Kobe does. And you can put that one or two any way you want it. And then it gets down to Karl Malone and Gary Payton and what they do. And then it gets to Kupchak. And what is he going to do to change this basketball team?
Prince. And that's without even mentioning the most important matter in Kobe's life.
Yes.
I mean, it's all moot unless he's acquitted.
You know the
what
first
about Malone, too?
Yeah, Karl Malone, Gary Payton. Wow. The first thing that stands out watching this Laker team play, you know, it was nice getting Karl Malone, and it was nice getting Gary Payton. But what this team needs is outside shooting in the worst way. Because the Detroit Pistons have been able to sag and clog up the paint and haven't had to pay a penalty for it. So I think what you'll see with Mitch Kupchak is they're going to go out and search for shooters.
They got sporadic outside shooting this season, i.e. Fisher. Rasheed misses a 3, and Rush's big game, but not consistently. We're talking about the Lakers. Phil Jackson, the first guy they have to talk about. Bryant, Payton, Malone, and Fisher can opt out. Payton can opt to stay. I mean, he's already under contract, so it's his call there. Fox maybe retires. You don't know. The other guys with expiring contracts.
You know, Phil Jackson said something interesting, because all along I have told you and I believe that he would not come back. You asked him this morning if they lost, would that change his decision? And he said yes, it probably would.
Yeah.
That makes you think if they lose, which they are going to, he may come back and try to put this right. That would surprise me.
As you know, though, in every sentence, you know, Phil goes from here to there. You know, he's like Enya.
I still think
it's Moonlight on the Ocean, is slipped around, or whatever the lyrics are. But it's like you walk away and you go, huh?
I still think he quits this year. I don't think he retires, though. I do believe we'll see him coach again, but not with the Lakers again.
Here's O'Neal. You know, Phil, he understands he had a chance here to become the winningest coach, not only in NBA history in terms of championships, but eclipse all other coaches and managers in the 4 major sports. Is it huge to him? I mean, he can live without it, but it was important to him. He made that pretty obvious as we talked to him throughout the course of the season.
It absolutely was. He also said something that surprised me. I didn't know he was keeping count, that they could catch the Celtics in banners.
Yes.
That upset me, too.
Doc, you can do something about it.
Yeah, I'm going to try.
16-14 is the Laker-Celtic rivalry right now, with Boston up by 2. Billups using the clock. Meanwhile, on the other side of the coin, Doc, Detroit, a much younger team, and as the Lakers will end their season unraveling in this series, Detroit ends it on a high note, and they just add exclamation point after exclamation point. Ben Wallace. Rebounds for Wallace. Walton missing. So Detroit with a young team. Not that they're not going to go out and try to revamp. Every team does. I mean, San Antonio won the title last year. Changed 6 of the 12. Minnesota had a pretty good year last year. Changed 9 of the 12 and got better.
Well, you know, the difference here is that Joe Dumars has done such a great job. If this goes in, my goodness. I mean, we would have had to leave the building.
Doc, the crowd is already wrung out.
Yes. But Joe Dumars has done such a great job with this team. He's not going to have to make a lot of changes. You know, they have to sign Rasheed Wallace, which I think they will. The mimic O'Toole is going to be a big thing, whether they can keep him or not. Other than that, this team will look very much the same. And don't forget about the rookie that didn't play this year. He will be a factor in the near future for this Pistons team.
Darko Milicic talking about.
You know, I couldn't remember his name because he hadn't played all year.
There he is. We just call him Darko, yeah.
The one thing he has to remove is those band-aids from his ear. He was piercing his ear. In the Eastern Conference Finals, they got infected, so now he has to walk around with band-aids on his ear. So he has to learn some things, there's no doubt about it.
He needs a valet is what he does.
Oh, my goodness.
Or a good girlfriend.
You know, Larry Brown said something really interesting about him. You know, he's so young. He's only 18 years old. Does he know how important the World Championship is? He said he might know more about the World Cup than the World Championship.
Rasheed Wallace on a turnaround.
But I'm going to say this again. I look at this Detroit Pistons team. Chauncey Billups was given up on. Ben Wallace was said that he couldn't be a factor. Rip Hamilton have been moved. Rasheed Wallace, they remind you of the Oakland Raiders. You know, Joe Dumars has looked at guys of castaways and have put them together and has turned this group into a terrific team.
Rasheed being one of the guys. I mean, he was the walking technical foul, but he's been a choir boy in the playoffs and a very positive influence for this team, and a guy Brown wanted.
Ben, if we throw to you, just get it down and get in our play. We got to use clock. I want to run every time, but we don't have the break. We got to use clock. They can't get a second shot.
That's a man who has a championship wrapped up, Doc, in the fourth quarter of Game 5, coaching every possession.
And you know it's awesome to watch him because obviously he wants to win a championship, but he's so much about the game of basketball. He's a teacher. He wants him to play the right way all the time. He's going to coach until 0-0-0-0 is on the clock.
Rush. I'll tell you a guy getting a big kick out of this right now. Dean Smith.
I'll tell you another one. Red Auerbach.
Yes. Red's lighting up a cigar. If you don't follow basketball, you just watch. Red Auerbach's record was in jeopardy. Red is a very proud man.
Yes, he is.
Red loves that record. And Red and Phil have had long-distance barb fest. On the other hand, we're talking about Larry Brown playing for Dean Smith, North Carolina, knowing Dean for all of those years, in contact with him all the time, never calls him Dean. That's the coach.
Yes.
Doc, can I call you next year, like during the week, and you can give me some lines and I can read them on the air?
Anytime. But I'll be watching you, I'll tell you that.
Shaq on the bench. Dean Smith and John Wooden, two of a kind, of course.
Look at that.
In college basketball annals. The young Larry Brown. People forget Larry Brown was a hell of a basketball player.
Was.
And for Larry, the negatives to Larry, and there are some people who don't like him because he's moved around so much in Philadelphia. Some fans felt he deserted them. Larry does have a little wanderlust in him. There's no question about it. It's maybe the pursuit of perfection as Cook makes that shot. It could be a lot of different things. But he is a guy, as his brother Herb said to me the other night, you know, we'll be driving around. He'll see kids playing on a playground. He wants to get out of the car and coach them.
No doubt. You know, when I was with the Clippers and Larry Brown coached me, we would play one-on-one games after practice. Larry would come back out on the floor and stop us because we didn't pivot the right way. So we left practice and we went somewhere else to play the game.
Crowd looking for 100, and they're going to get it sooner or later because they still have 3:44 to play. But of all crazy things in this series, could you have ever figured Detroit would win in a blowout? The Lakers would need a near miracle to win the only game they win, and Detroit would wind up in triple figures in a blowout deciding game.
You know, Al, I'm going to go back to our first game, Peter. And we said in this series that if the Detroit Pistons scored between 85 and 90 points, they would win because they will never give up 90 points. I'm looking up at the scoreboard right now. The Pistons have 98 points, and the Lakers have 72. So as great as the Detroit Pistons defense has been, it's still been about the Lakers not playing defense in this series, or maybe not able to play defense because everyone underestimated the Pistons offense.
They know now. You saw Shelly Brown. Shelly and Larry will get about 11 minutes to exult. Larry's going to coach the Olympic team.
Yeah.
So he's going to go into a draft situation next week with this team. He's going to have a parade and all of that. Then he's got to start getting the Olympic team together. Then they have a camp. Then they go to Germany to play. Then they go to Athens, of course, for the Olympics. Then he comes back and he plays about 2 rounds of golf and he goes back to training camp.
Yeah, and they're in another, as Shaq called it, a half-team situation. you know, an HAFTO situation because he had to get this team to the finals after they made the switch to Rick Carlisle. Now he's taking the dream team, and he has to win the gold medal.
Byron Scott, Tom Tobin, who's the MVP?
I think Chauncey Billups is MVP, hands down.
I think if every year you'd want to give the MVP to an entire team, this would be it. Chauncey Billups. A lot of the Patriots coming out before the Super Bowl will be out on the floor for the trophy presentation, the MVP presentation, as the champagne is on ice and about ready to be opened. First Pistons championship won here in Detroit, Al.
Okay, Mike, and it's well put about the MVP. There is no clear-cut guy. I'd vote for Billups, too. I think he's been phenomenal. Ben Wallace has been fantastic tonight.
Yeah, you know what? It's such a tough vote. And I'm going to vote for Ben Wallace because this team is all about defense, and he's the anchor. And even though Billups has had better offensive games, Ben Wallace has been a factor throughout this series with his presence. And I think I have to go with him.
This is the kind of election that's so close, there'll be a bunch of dangling chads at the end of it because there's no clear-cut guy.
It should be a team MVP.
And we talked about it on the pregame show, Doc. When you think about these Pistons, there won't be one guy who comes to mind. You'll think about a collection of guys. It won't be Michael Jordan's Bulls or Shaq and Kobe's Lakers or Duncan and Robinson's Spurs. This is different.
It is.
Actually, it's refreshing, too.
Yeah, you could vote for Joe Dumars. I mean, the trade, before the trade deadline, bringing Rasheed Wallace to the Pistons swung the title to the Pistons.
That is, I'm thinking about that. You're right.
Yeah.
You are right.
And now I got to tell you, this has been a great year for me. I'm trying to stay composed. I really am. I've been a player. I'm going to coach the Celtics, and now I can say that I've done the NBA Finals with Al Michaels, Michelle Tafoya, and Stuart Scott, and Al, this is so amazing. For me, it's been amazing. It's been awesome.
Doc, you're so kind as Tayshaun Prince comes off, and Larry will bring the guys off one by one. Doc, I look at it this way. The way you started at Orlando, we had to get you off the street.
Yes, you did.
And thanks for, and I had a blast this year with you.
Thank you very much.
Kobe Bryant, there's Chauncey Billups, Okur, Larry Brown doing everything he can now to get everybody to come off the floor as they reach triple figures. Get the individual acclaim. And why not? The Pistons are going to wind down the playoffs with some good defensive play. Their trademark, their hallmark. Again, those quick hands. James, Darko.
I think he'll get the rest of the shots, the rest of this game.
Fisher makes it from outside. So this Piston team, which has really captured this area, and they love this style of play. So Hockey Town, USA is going to become Hoops Town, USA in about a minute and 12 seconds.
But you know, it's such a blue-collar team that fits this city. All you heard from them is punching the clock, you know, one more shift, paycheck time. I mean, this is such a blue-collar basketball team that you can make the case like the Lakers and, you know, the LA Lakers fit LA. This Detroit Pistons team really fits this city.
Hamilton can take that mask off for the final time. Rasheed Wallace is going to win his first title. What a bizarre, just a bizarre end of the. I'm looking at those shots. Bryant, O'Neal, Jackson, Malone in street clothes, Payton. And of all crazy things, this team, which always seemed to come up with the clutch play, or the divine play when they needed it will end it like this.
Well, they lived on the edge, Al, and against the Detroit Pistons, you can't live that way. I will say this. It would be ironic if Karl Malone ends his career in street clothes, since he played every game for the most part his entire career.
Sure. And if Phil Jackson ends his career losing for the only time in the finals, he'll be 9-1 here.
You know what I love, though? When they signed Karl Malone and Gary Payton, everybody assumed that, well, they just had won a title. If you're a team sport guy, it gives every kid in the world a message. No matter who's on your team, you still have to earn it. And that's what this title is all about.
We started the first game, I said to you, you know, you have to run the race. You got to play the game. The day before, Birdstone had beaten Smarty Jones. We said that the Pistons have a better chance to beat the Lakers than Birdstone had.
He's still running.
They're going to win the middle 3 games, something that no team has done at home since they went back to a 2-3-2 format in '85. There was actually a time in the mid-50s, believe it or not, when a home team won all 3 games in the middle. It was the Pistons. They were in Fort Wayne, but of all crazy things, they played those games in Indianapolis and beat the Syracuse Nationals.
And the last team to win an Eastern champion, and he was from the East, without Phil Jackson being involved, with the Detroit Pistons in 1990.
Rick Fox ending the game hunched over his former teammate Lindsey Hunter and congratulating him as the clock ticks down. And the Detroit Pistons, wow, who won the NBA championship in '89 and '90, and the crazies just have to stop blowing up stuff in indoor buildings before we have a disaster. Thank you, Commissioner. But the Detroit Pistons have just shocked the Los Angeles Lakers. 100-87 to win the NBA title. The number 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. And for the Lakers, it truly will be the end of a particular era. They've had the 3 championships. They brought in the other guys. We talked about how much they'll revamp. For Joe Dumars, who was selected by Bill Davidson to run the team, he can exult. Phil Jackson will contemplate his future, and they'll talk about that very shortly, I'm sure, in the next couple of days as the confetti rains down at the Palace of Auburn Hills. Chauncey Billups, a likely candidate for the MVP award. And the Detroit Pistons, this gritty, gutty, defensive-oriented team, plays phenomenally on both ends of the floor and beat the Lakers in 5. Shelly Brown, like a lot of coaches' wives, a lot of different homes. You've got to keep the family together, and this was a very rough year for Larry because his family was settled in Philadelphia, the kids in school. He's trying to fly back on off days, living in an apartment. Back and forth they go. For Kobe Bryant, the biggest of question marks, of course, for him.
Yes.
And so the complete contrast and evidence here as the game is over.
Well, you just look at this entire season, and this Detroit Pistons team always believed that they could. They played the same way all year, and you knew every time you played this team that they were going to come out and play hard, play great defense, and as we've said 100 times now, play the game the right way. There's a lot of people smiling at this basketball team.
Stuart Scott.
Tayshaun Prince, you guys did something that nobody outside your locker room thought you would. It wasn't just that you beat them, but how? What did you all know that nobody else did?
We just took it to them, man. We knew we could play with everybody in this league. And I think we showed it today. But obviously, they came out, gave it everything they have, and we just kept fighting. We kept fighting. And it was just an all-around effort by everybody today.
Everybody in your locker room was concerned about one thing coming into this game, not to get so uptight that you try to do too much individually. How did you blow them out like this?
Hey, it's a situation where it was like a last game for them. We said the same thing for us. This is the last game. Look at it, us being down 3-1. That's how we took it.
We haven't seen you smile the entire series, man. Give me one.
You know what? I'm feeling so happy right now. It's all inside, but man.
There's a chain around town that goes Detroit basketball, and the guy who originated it is the PA announcer here. He'll take us to the ceremony. Mason.
And now, Piston fans, the Larry O'Brien Trophy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you. I guess the address has changed here. This is now 4 Championship Drive in Auburn Hills, Michigan. Here to present the Larry O'Brien Trophy to the world champion Detroit Pistons, the commissioner of the NBA, David Stern.
Against the celebrated and valiant effort by the Los Angeles Lakers, your Detroit Pistons demonstrated that fairy tale endings do actually occur in sports, as rare as they may be. Against all expectations, but because of hard work, very hard work, and teamwork, I'm delighted to congratulate Bill Davidson, the owner of the Pistons, Tom Wilson, Joe Dumars, particularly Coach Larry Brown, and of course, the city of Detroit, who believed in this team. And this team met their expectations, even though no one else expected it. So to your 2004 NBA champion Detroit Pistons, congratulations. And here's the trophy.
Let's take that, Ben. Mr. Davidson. Now you have the WNBA championship, the Stanley Cup with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I know all the championships mean so much, but I've seen you in the practice facility, seeing these guys. This is your baby. This one has to be super special to you.
Absolutely, it is, and this is the greatest. I always have to be a little careful that I say I like them both equal, but this is a great night, and the guys did a tremendous job.
Congratulations, Bill Davidson, owner of the Detroit Pistons. We have to get Larry Brown over here. Coach Larry Brown. Coach, I know you inherited a very good team, but they did figure out the right way to play. It seemed like the right fit for the coach and the players. Tell us your emotions as your family's here and you finally, after the long journey, become the first man to win an NCAA championship and an NBA championship as a coach.
Well, one, I feel fortunate that I inherited a team that Rick Carlisle coached. He did a great job. I'm sorry Chucky Atkins and Michael Curry and John Barry and Cliff Robinson aren't here to enjoy it. But this is a great team. Mr. D and Joe and the whole staff assembled great guys that do play the right way, and I'm proud to be part of that. Thank you.
I know there are two people who are watching who you share great emotion for and with. Coach Smith, Dean Smith, your mentor, and your 99-year-old mom who has just watched you and your older brother Herb worked together to win an NBA championship. Having your brother here, your mom watching at home, has to be special to you.
Well, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Coach. A lot of us in this profession benefited by being around him. And for my mom, I babysitted my brother long enough, and we finally got it done. I love you, Mom.
Larry Brown, coach of the champion Pistons. Now time for the presentation of the most valuable player trophy. And once again, Commissioner Stern.
You saw it, 21 points a game, over 5 assists.
Chauncey, you just looked at that and said, wow. After all the places you've been and the expectations when you were drafted high in the draft, all the stops, did you ever stop dreaming that you could find the right place for your talents?
I never stopped dreaming, man. God is good. You know, God is very good. He put me here for a reason, and that's the reason.
You guys were as heavy an underdog as we've seen win the championship in almost a quarter century. I know the guys believed. Tell me why this team was able to overcome the Lakers.
Because we just believe in ourselves, and we play team basketball. We're not just individuals. We got individual good players, but we're a great basketball team, and we know that that can overcome every time.
Congratulations. MVP of the finals, Chauncey Billups. I would imagine you would like to hear from Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars, finals of the NBA MVP of the finals, I should say, joins Jerry West as the only people to be finals MVP and the architect of a championship team. I know it's sweet as a player. Tell me what it's like to be the boss.
It's so much better here. You put your heart and soul into it, and to have this happen is just unbelievable.
Joe, as I said, this team was a heavy underdog. When did you believe this team could do it?
I felt like we could win this thing. I really did. Even before the series started, I thought that we could win. And I knew we were underdogs, but I never thought that these guys were. I just felt like these guys, it was their year to win it.
Joe Dumars and the rest of the world champion Detroit Pistons, ladies and gentlemen. And we send it back to Al Michaels.
All right, thank you, Mike. So Billups wins an MVP award in the finals before he ever makes an all-star team. Who's the last guy to do that? Joe Dumars did it on one of the Detroit championship teams in '90. Just a few moments ago, what's it like on the other side? Michelle talked to Derek Fisher.
Derek Fisher, obviously this is an incredibly emotional time. What is your team going through in that locker room?
Mixed emotions, Michelle, to be honest. Extreme disappointment, but very resilient. I'm so proud of this team. We didn't have to be here. We went through some things that I don't think any other team could have gone through and still gotten to this point. And you know, we definitely have to tip our hat to the Pistons, no question about that. You have to win graciously and you have to lose graciously, and we're disappointed, but the Pistons were the better team this year.
You guys came into this game saying all the right things, that you believed you could get it done, that you were confident that you'd been in this position before. What happened out there tonight?
Same things as have been happening this entire series, you know. Second chance points, you know, offensive rebounds, you know, they're beating us to loose balls. You know, I think they wanted it more, you know, collectively as a group. That doesn't take anything away from anybody on our team. I think we wanted it as well, but they were able to take, you know, emotionally what they desired and what they wanted and carry it over to the physical. And we were a step slow too many times, and, you know, they deserve it.
Phil Jackson had said many times this may be a last dance for this particular team. What are your thoughts about the future of this team? How likely is it you'll be together next year?
You know, who knows? You know, the nature of this business has really changed over the years, and, you know, from year to year, when you leave that locker room for the last time, you never know if you're going to see that guy again. And, you know, I think we'll all just, you know, enjoy the time that we have left together tonight and tomorrow on our plane ride back. And, you know, just be thankful that we had this opportunity. A lot of guys haven't had this opportunity. And, you know, we had a chance and we couldn't get it done, but we're thankful.
In a 9-day period, I can't think of a turnaround like this in such a huge event. I mean, it's almost as if in a World Series or in a Stanley Cup, one team is expected to win, And then not only does the other team win, the other team becomes so dominant that by the end, the underdog looks like it's invincible, and the favorite looks like it can't win a game if he played until August.
And it wasn't just a couple of people. It was most people. I mean, experts, quote-unquote experts, saying 5, can it go 4? And when you heard that, it was all about, can the Pistons win one game? If they won one game, it would be a good series. I mean, this was a dominant performance, and it was a great team performance. Before we go, Al, I want to say that Al Michaels here has just completed the Grand Slam. He's done hockey, basketball, baseball, and football, all the world championships, and that's pretty awesome.
And the world barrel jumping championship.
Yeah. I wanted to leave that part out.
We're not going to put it in there. You know, it was so interesting watching the teams walk off. I mean, the Lakers, and clearly they'll be broken up in some measure to a large extent in all likelihood.
It will.
And then Larry Brown. And, you know, I'm just watching Larry, and he's talking about his 99-year-old mother, and you saw the way he was, and it's never been about Larry. And by the way, I saw his other wonderful moment in life, his only hole-in-one on the golf course, one of 5 people to view that.
Yes, exactly.
And it's always about the others, and he is so elated for his players, for the coaches that he's worked with, for the kids he's brought along, and I can't think of a guy in that profession more respected than Larry Brown.
Well, he reminds you of the John Wooden of the NBA. I mean, John Wooden was a lot like Larry Brown, that all the titles and all the accomplishments that he had and Larry Brown has, he always talks about the greatness of the players and everybody else around him, almost deflecting what he's done. Larry Brown is a great basketball coach, and he's known around this league as the coach's coach. So it's rare that other coaches, because this is competitive league, but it's rare that other coaches are happy for a coach when he wins a title, but everyone's happy for Larry Brown.
He's helped turn the balance of power a little bit back to the East. You'll keep that going.
Yes.
My man going to the Boston Celtics. Someday again, I'll come out of retirement when you're finished with the Celtics.
Oh, thank you, Al.
Great series.